Have you ever pondered the power of your mind and how it influences people around you? Welcome to the intriguing world of psychological tricks. These are not just for marketers, entrepreneurs, or cunning swindlers, but for anyone who wants to navigate life more effortlessly. Psychological tricks are strategies based on our understanding of human behavior, used to influence others subtly. They can transform mundane interactions into captivating exchanges and daily challenges into manageable tasks. Let's dive into these 19 incredible psychological tricks that can make your life easier and more fascinating. Starting with trick number 1, we delve into the fascinating realm of the Benjamin Franklin effect. Named after one of the United States' founding fathers, this psychological trick revolves around the idea that when we do a favor for someone, we tend to like them more as a result. It's a simple yet effective way to foster rapport and positive sentiment with others. Moving on to trick number 2, we encounter the pratfall effect. This principle suggests that people will find you more relatable and likable if you aren't perfect. A small mistake, a stumble, a moment of vulnerability can make you seem more human and therefore more appealing to others. So don't be afraid to show your imperfections once in a while. Next up, trick number 3, the door-in-the-face technique. This trick relies on the principle of reciprocity. You start by making a large request that you expect to be turned down. Then you follow up with a smaller, more reasonable request. People are more likely to agree to the second request after rejecting the first one. Our fourth trick is the bizarreness effect. This is a psychological phenomenon where bizarre material is better remembered than common material. So if you're trying to remember something important, try associating it with something weird or outlandish. The stranger, the better. Finally, we arrive at trick number 5, the Zeigarnik effect. Named after its discoverer, Bloomer Zeigarnik, this effect states that people remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed tasks. If you want to remember to do something, start doing it for a little while, then stop. You'll find that it sticks in your mind until you finish it. These first 5 tricks already give you a powerful arsenal, but there's more to come. Moving on to our 6th trick, we find the concept of social proof. This principle is based on the idea that people conform to the actions of others, under the assumption that those actions are reflective of the correct behavior. In simpler terms, we tend to do what we see others doing. So if you want someone to behave in a certain way, lead by example. Next, we have the scarcity principle. This trick is all about making something appear more valuable by emphasizing its potential unavailability or rarity. For instance, if you've ever felt the urge to buy something just because it's the last one left, you've been influenced by the scarcity principle. The third trick in our list is the anchoring effect. This is a cognitive bias that influences you to rely too heavily on the first piece of information you hear. In negotiations, whoever makes the first offer sets a range of reasonable possibilities in each person's mind. So if you're selling something, start with a higher price as an anchor. Our 9th trick is the halo effect. This is a bias where you unconsciously allow one trait, such as good looks or a strong handshake, to influence your opinion of that person's other traits. So, if you want to make a good impression, focus on showing off your best attribute first. Lastly, we have the contrast effect. This is a bias that distorts our perception by comparing and contrasting only 2 things. For example, if you see a good product after seeing a bad one, you'll perceive the good product as even better than it actually is. These tricks are all deeply rooted in the way our minds work, and understanding them can give you an edge in various situations. From persuading others, to making better decisions, and even protecting yourself from manipulation. With these 10 tricks, you're well on your way to becoming a master of everyday psychology. But we're not done yet. Our 11th trick is the power of silence. This principle is about leveraging the discomfort of silence to get the answers you need. People often feel awkward pauses with information, sometimes more than they initially intended to share. Moving on, we have the reciprocity principle. It's a simple yet powerful idea. When someone does something for us, we naturally feel compelled to return the favor. Use this to build relationships and gain favors. Next is the decoy effect. This trick is used to make one option more attractive by comparing it to a less appealing one. It's a common tactic in pricing strategies. The framing effect comes next. It's all about presentation. The same fact can elicit different reactions depending on how it's framed or presented. Finally, we have the paradox of choice. Offering too many choices can overwhelm and lead to indecision. Limiting options can actually boost engagement and decision-making. These tricks continue to build your understanding and manipulation of psychology. Let's round out our list with the final four. Our 16th trick is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. This phenomenon occurs when individuals with low ability at a task overestimate their ability. It's a cognitive bias where people with little knowledge think they know more than they actually do. In contrast, those who are highly skilled tend to underestimate their competence. Next up, we have the foot in the door technique. This trick involves getting someone to agree to a large request by first setting them up with a modest request. The initial, smaller request paves the way for the greater request, making it more likely to be accepted. The mere exposure effect is our 18th trick. It's a psychological phenomenon where people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. So, the more you're exposed to something, the more you're likely to like it. Lastly, we delve into the endowment effect. This psychological trick refers to people's tendency to place a higher value on objects they own than on identical objects that they do not. So it's all about possession and perceived value. With these 19 tricks in your pocket, you're equipped to navigate the world with a new understanding of psychology. Remember, use these tools wisely and ethically. Now go out there and make your life more exciting and easier with the power of psychology.